Hey, Mark.
Hey, Tracy.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, I was so proud that I submitted my status report.
I didn't do ours yet.
Oh, shame on you, Steve. You should hang your
Shame,
head
shame,
now. That's right.
shame.
I submitted mine late yesterday. Thankfully, Andrea approved it today and merged it. And now that sounds like one of your horses has developed a wheezing rasp there, Tracy.
That's one of our mini dogs.
Oh, that's a dog, not a
At,
horse. Okay.
at this time of the day, for some reason, she whines a lot. Let me see if she wants to go out. This is Stella. Mark, did you guys get a lot of snow?
I don't think we actually at my level we got none. No, they did get what in the mountains, at the 10,000 foot level, sure. I'm sure they got plenty, but down in the flats where I live at 5,000 feet above sea level, no problem. Nothing. And it's winter's coming. I can feel it. It's getting cooler, but winter's certainly not here yet. Now, I assume your weather is still very mild, or are you
We
getting
had
is
about
winter already coming?
we had 3 inches of snow yesterday, and I suspect we'll have, there's a storm coming in that's gonna snow the rest of the week.
Oh,
Hooray.
wow. Oh, so you're gonna get, well, that's cool.
Yeah, they got a foot up in our ski basin last night.
Wow.
Where are you
Yeah,
guys at?
We're in Santa Fe, New Mexico, so we're at 7,000 feet, and the ski basin's at almost 11,000.
Good. Tracy, where are you
Same
at?
place. We're in the same,
Okay.
doesn't
yeah.
look
So
like it, but we're in the
whereas,
same building.
yeah, I'm in Colorado, and yeah, they're saying they've got what, several hundred inches. Yeah. No, let's see. No, that's annual. Looks like they've had some snowfall in the last 24 hours up at the high levels, up at Arapahoe Bay, A Basin and Keystone. So there's some hope that the ski resorts will be functional in Colorado. Not that I care. I'm not nearly athletic enough to risk my harming my body on a ski slope. So I wonder if we ought to just take a look at the agenda together. Andrea, I assume, will join us eventually.
I'm here. Sorry, I'm
Oh, there you
late.
are, Andrea. Great. All right.
Sorry, I'm waiting. Let me share the notes. It's a bit of a crazy day today. Sorry about that. Uh, okay, sorry, trying to share the agenda. Okay. Hopefully you can see the agenda.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Let's get started. So thanks everyone for joining today. So yeah, I joined late today and I need to run at the half an hour. I'm sorry about that again. So in terms of the schedule for this meeting, we discussed briefly last time, and it seems that the current time works for most people that is joining the meeting today. I had different message from some other folks, so I just wanted to make sure that the majority is okay with the current schedule. So I made a form, I sent it to the TOC mailing list, I put it in the TOC Slack, and I pasted it here for this group. So just as a preview, there is one option to say, well, the current schedule works for me, so let's keep it as it is, and then option for providing more possibilities. So please, if you don't mind to fill it in so we can decide what to do. I just realized we had a lot of new members joining the TOC, and I had not shared this information before, so I wanted to just briefly bring up the TOC communication channel. So we do have a mailing list, the CDF TOC. It's a self-service mailing list, so I would ask folks to subscribe if they're interested in receiving messages. We don't have heavy traffic on the mailing list anyways, and we always post things on Slack, but I think it's good for everyone to be part of the mailing list to send communication there. And I included here a link to the Slack as well. Okay, I keep breezing through for this, just quick updates. We discussed about a plan for moving forward with the various groups, special interest groups that we have today that are not active. So I made a PR for the supply chain interest group to mark it as archived. Show it briefly on what it looks like. So in the main README, mark it as archive with a note.
Mhm.
This actually I think was, yeah, so for this specific repository, I've got two approvals. So, but I don't have, I'm not a maintainer, so I'm not able to merge this PR or to archive the repository itself. So I'll reach out to Michelle probably for that, unless someone can do it. Yeah. I've done similar for the interoperability and the events working group. For those, as discussed, I put a link to the CD events project and the CD events implementation working group. So for folks who wants to discuss interoperability, to please go there. And also to reach out to the TOC in case you wanted to start this SIG again. So my plan was to wait, give a little bit of time, and before the next meeting, before the next time we meet, merge all these PRs and archive the GitHub repos corresponding. So accordingly, things that needs to be remains to be done would be to clean up meetings from the calendar or from Zoom, and to manage updates to mailing list and the website. And I plan to reach out to Michelle, ask for help about this remaining topics. Okay. Any question on these updates so far?
Agenda
Nope.
sounds good.
Looks good.
Okay. Okay. Then the remaining topic for today is the project updates. So thanks everyone who provided the updates. So I received all the updates except for Tilius. Maybe Steve or
I'll get that today or tomorrow.
yeah, that's great. So once we have Tilius as well, Roxanne can prepare a blog post with those. So usually go through them. So I can do that. Oops, that's the wrong PR. Yeah, okay. So for city events, we had the first release of the Rust SDK. And as you know, we created this implementation working group where we focus on tools architecture for adoption of CD events. And the first case that we are looking at, as you know well, is that of security automation. So using events to add security to existing pipelines without changing their definition. So we had a bit of a slowdown in terms of contribution during the summer breaks, but things are starting to be back in full swing now. And I put the links to the LFX. This link should be publicly available, so which is good. We can see the statistics about project now. Everyone can see them. I included also community updates. City events participated to Oktoberfest. We received some good quality contribution to our documentation. In particular, one was about creating FAQs for the project, which was really good. And yeah, included a call to action, so to say. I mean, we still have many other tasks that could use some love, so ask for people to join and continue contributing. Jenkins is next.
So before you go on to
Yeah.
before you go on to Jenkins, I wanted to ask about your Hacktoberfest. Any significant increase in Hacktoberfest spam? Did you
No.
I don't know that you've ever had it before, but it wasn't a problem for you this year.
No, it wasn't. We didn't have
Great.
any spam here.
Okay, great.
And we had this PR about creating an FAQ, which was one of the tasks that we had in the list. And it was actually quite some content that was provided. And we had several iterations to fine tune it, going through different reviewers and reviews, and it was quite a positive experience. So if we got only that, I think it was good. It's worth it.
Very good.
So for Jenkins, Mark, I hate to put you on the spot, but I just wanted to ask if you want to go for this quickly, or should I?
If you're okay, if I just go over it quickly, I want to be sure we get to Jason and his update on his from his project, and to Tracy as well, or Tracy and Steve. But Jenkins is going well. We just dropped support for Java 11, so we now support Java 17 and Java 21. We've been awarded $60,000 by AWS twice. Microsoft gave us $60,000 as well. We're using them to fund our infrastructure, and we're using every dollar of them, so using them very well. Alpha Omega, as part of OpenSSF, has funded a three-month project with 2 contractors to improve the security of Jenkins core and Jenkins plugins through content security policy. This is a first for us. We've never had an Alpha Omega funded effort, and we're looking forward to the first month's results are great. We hope that we'll be able to persuade them to fund us for another year on this kind of project, and even possibly others. So really good stuff. And then the mirror list, let's just go on, keep scrolling downwards. We're in the middle of elections right now. So the nominations have been completed, and we will choose 3 new board members, and we've got a contested election for our release officer. All the others, we just had 1 candidate. So looking forward to those results. Google Summer of Code had great results. All 5 projects completed successfully. And further down on the page, the community updates thing talks about how we're trying to continue a pattern of every 2 weeks highlighting with a biography one of the contributors to Jenkins. We've been doing this now for almost a full year, and we think we're going to be able to continue this kind of a publication story through at least the end of 2025. Those are really the most crucial things. Everything else, you can just read the page to see more.
Great.
Any questions? No. Okay, good.
Thanks a lot, Mark. Okay, so for Jenkins X, we get features and releases. So one of the basic premises behind Jenkins X is it should be opinionated platforming for CI/CD on Kubernetes. From the start, third-party components have been used while components have been created within the project as needed. One component was created was a dashboard for the pipeline. Since then, the technical dashboard was created and its feature has been expanded continuously. So we are now looking at migrating our own solution to the Tecton dashboard. So I think this is one of the main things happening. And yet several features for improved handling of large repository have been introduced. Partial cloning, shallow cloning, and sparse checkout. Jenkins has support for many Git providers, and the adoption of these improvements has varied. So we haven't had these features by default. Now most Git providers do support these features, and we are renewed our efforts to support them by default.
So I'm a little surprised there that they didn't mention large file support. Andrea, do you know if large file support is a thing for them? Git LFS was the single biggest thing I dealt with when dealing with large repositories.
Yes, indeed. That's a good question. I don't know the answer though, but
Okay, I can ask them separately. Thanks.
And we have an update on Screwdriver. So Screwdriver, they had new version for various components, and they have upcoming releases with a significant overhaul of the UI, pipeline landing page component, fixes for issues within the use of metadata and remote triggers, events, and frozen builds, and enhancements to the visual representation and usability of virtual jobs. There was a new adopter mentioned here, and there are no new contributors to the project. So there is a new adopter, but it's mostly passive role now. And there are several security updates mentioned, which highlights focus on security. And for those that are interested, there is a bi-weekly meeting with the community for anyone interested. So there is a link if you would like to join the Screwdriver community. Then we have update from Spinnaker. Jason, is that something you would like to go through yourself?
Sure, I mean, I can. 135 was released in August. We've pretty much all on Java 17, although we still targeting Java 11. That's about to go away. There's quite a few, mostly just it's stable and runs updates. There's some performance things around ECS integration. There's some GCP features that a couple of the community has asked for, but for the most part, Spinnaker doesn't get a lot of significant changes at this point. It's running along. Apple has got a number of big PRs they're looking to do to move it to a mono repo. They were supposed to have it about a week ago. That got delayed. It's Apple. Who knows when they will actually do some of this, but they're getting ready to do that and a couple other PRs. Mark, you had a question?
Yeah, so on the Java 17 transition, you said that you're continuing to support Java 11, so you haven't dropped Java 11 yet. You're just using 17 to generate Java 11 bytecode?
Yeah, so
Okay.
that was 135, and then 136 should be switching everything over to Java 17 for runtime and targets. I need to confirm that that's still on the roadmap. Salesforce was driving a lot of that. And actually, there was another user from JPMC driving a lot of it, and I've not seen him active in a while. So there's a bit of wondering what's going on in a couple of those contributor areas. And
And
of course, hmm,
oh, sorry.
it's always hard because some of these companies work and run internally and they don't contribute back, and it's where is it?
Right, exactly. Internal fork. So I've been using Open Rewrite to do the Java 11 to 17 migration. Have you
Yes.
tried that as well? And is it working for you? What's your experience been?
We actually just used it because we were running Spring Fox. It was the Spring Spring Docs migration. And I was introducing it into the project. We haven't used that for the Java 17 at this point. The Spinnaker code base is complex enough that Open Rewrite has problems with Groovy files, and that's made it interesting. There's
Okay.
still a lot of Groovy in the Spinnaker code base.
Got it. Okay, so because for us, Open Rewrite has been really positive in terms of suggesting useful changes from Java 17 into the code base. Thanks.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, Open Rewrite is fantastic. I love it. Matter of fact, one of the core CEOs was actually a contributor to Spinnaker, although I haven't seen him in a while.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's unfortunately we have not gotten as much use of it. That said, keep in mind that it's really tied up to the individual contributors.
Right.
I was pushing for it, but I haven't gotten a lot of buy-in yet.
Okay.
So anyway, monorepo, Apple's got some other PRs to do some performance improvements, but nothing major at this point other than, hey, getting all the Spring Boot upgrades and the traditional onto the latest releases. We're getting closer and closer, but it's not there yet. No security updates.
And so you mentioned Spring Boot upgrade. So we just did Spring Security 5 to 6 and Spring Framework 5 to 6.
Yeah.
Which transition are you doing? Is it that same series or?
We're on 2.7 right now. So we haven't done the 3 Spring Boot and then the Spring Framework 6 migration yet. That's probably going to be incoming pretty soon. Unfortunately, again, that's one of those, there's enough changes with that one that
Yeah,
it's a little daunting.
yeah, for us, it was an enormous project. The transition from Spring 5 to Spring 6 was multi-person, multi-month, enormous amount of effort for us to make that transition.
It'll be interesting. And when we consider probably a bigger priority is the AWS migration, we're still on AWS SDK Java 1.
Yep, us too. We've got, and V2 is now out and is telling people, oh, wait, the API is deprecated and
Yep.
it'll be dead at the end of December,
Yeah.
December 2025? So,
CLI is dead.
oh, okay.
The SDK is not.
Ah, okay. All right. Well,
But that doesn't mean it's not incoming this year.
right.
So, and that one's going to be nasty. And AWS has not been contributing at all. We have Oracle, Tencent, we have Alibaba Cloud, we have all these cloud providers, and we have not seen those cloud providers do much contribution.
Hmm.
So that makes it very annoying to maintain.
Got it. Thank you. Thanks very much. So somebody else who's affected by the AWS SDK V1 to V2 transition, I at least have someone that can commiserate with me on what it means to make yet another API transition.
Been there, done that. I've said the Spring Boot one, I'm firmly expecting us to get bit by the same things you guys got bit by.
Great. Well,
So-
and I've proposed a talk for Southern California Linux Expo where Basil Crow and I will spend 45 minutes talking about that long and challenging path. So
Mhm. I'm hoping Rewrite will help with that, but we'll see.
Okay.
Thanks. Anything else? Any other questions? All right.
Thanks a lot for the update, Jason. Yeah, interesting discussion about APIs.
well, there's a reason that CD events is so attractive, right? Because it's not API based, right? So there's a seductive part of things that aren't API based.
All right. So the last on the list, Tecton. One of the last few updates from this project. So we had several releases, but we had a new set of releases for the various components, including long-term releases, long-term support releases. Oh, sorry, there is a typo in the rendering. For for the main components. One of the things that we've been looking at is to move the container images from our releases to GCR.io, so the container registry by GitHub, mainly because that's free of charge for open source projects. So we are hoping to save infrastructure costs by doing that, basically, because we have been hosting until now images into GCR.io. Of course, we'll keep having all the egress traffic from existing releases from GCR.io. And yeah, so we are looking to see if there is any way we can kind of redirect that traffic somehow. But yeah, so we don't know yet. We have one new adopter registered in our adopter list, Giant Swarm. They use CI/CD for testing Kubernetes cluster and app releases across multiple supported clouds and on-prem providers, and for automation of operating system image building. In terms of contribution trends, in Q3 contribution to Tekton have slowed down slightly. We have a few features. We have more small feature improvements and security fixes across the various projects happening. Yeah, infrastructure updates I mentioned already. We have been looking at focusing on reducing the infrastructure spending, moving new releases to GHCR.io. And yeah, that's all for the project updates. Any question? Okay, then once the Ortelius one is in, I'll bring Roxanne. She's already looking at the ones provided so far, and so she will make a blog post with the updates from the various projects. Okay, yeah, that's all I had on the agenda for today. I don't know if there is any other topic you wanted to discuss today.
I would like to just touch base on the conversation we had yesterday about the retiring some of the SIGs and potentially creating a new one. So I did reach out to some folks that would be interested in working on a CI/CD cybersecurity SIG. I shared with everybody on this call the proposal that they're working on. Would be great to get input from the team if you want to make any comments on it. I did not reach out to Terry Cox. I still don't have his email, but maybe we just link best practices, the best CI/CD best practices SIG out there, and just potentially add this cybersecurity, basically cybersecurity best practices in CI/CD. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I like the idea of putting it under another SIG if we can do it. Do you see any negatives to if we were to do it that way, if it became part of the best practices?
The best practices is pretty long in the tooth and it's pretty old. The people who are on there have long since left the CD Foundation. People like Tara Hernandez and Tracy Miranda. So I think that we need to do, I think it's more interesting if we do a new one. I feel like we should get rid of the old ones and not have them hanging around out there if they're not active. I don't know if that one's active. I could potentially see if there's meetings being scheduled for it and attend one and see if that is the case, which may be something that we should do as a TOC, is to see if those are still happening. And I do think we need to bring in a broader conversation. I would like to be, if we do pursue the SIG, I feel like we should have at least one person from each of our projects involved in it, and potentially reach out to someone on the OpenSSF side. So we need to build a bit of a broader coalition around cybersecurity and the tooling that needs to be added to the CI/CD pipeline to start becoming more compliant with the new security tooling that's being released across not just the CD Foundation, but in many, you know, Apache's even got some that they've released. So I just feel like it should be broader, and it should be a conversation that we should be having in terms of being the CD Foundation. I feel like putting our head in the sand and not addressing this is a bad thing for us.
Yeah, so I just got an invite to further support your idea of a separate SIG. I got an invite from a John Nero of the Open SSF talking about, hey, let's book some time at the Linux Foundation Member Summit to talk Open SSF and software security. So new SIG sounds fine to me, and I'm confident I can find someone from the Jenkins project to participate.
That would be great. That would be great. Like I said, if we had one representative from each of the projects attending it, I think that at least would bring together the conversation and how, what recommendations are we going to make? Do we recommend tooling? Or do we just classify different tools in what area that they need to be implemented through the CI/CD process? I think there's a lot of discussion that needs to be had on the topic. There is. There's a ton, actually. So I did share the document with all of you on the call here. I didn't share it with everybody on the list because I wouldn't have known what we were talking about. So all of you do have access to the proposal, and any comments, please just put them right on the doc.
Thanks, Tracy. Sorry, I really need to drop now, but the meeting will continue to run. So.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks, Andrea.
Thank you.
Bye.
I'm not sure we have other topics. Do we have any other topics that need to be discussed?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Then I'd say let's call ourselves done.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Oh, Tracy,
Bye.
actually, I take it back. One, will you be at Member Summit in mid-November?
No, I'm not going.
You won't. Okay, so I may, after I've had a conversation with them at Member Summit, I may want some time to talk to you about, hey, what's the Jenkins project trying to do in terms of security improvement under the framework of Alpha Omega and their funding. So that this initial grant has turned out to be very, very positive, and I've been impressed with how much traction we've gotten from it. So it may be that we'll be able to persuade Alpha Omega to fund more work, but I'm not sure that it's going to be in the area specifically around the cybersecurity SIG. It's rather, this is intensely Jenkins focused on trying to be sure that Jenkins' own security is improved in various
Correct.
positive ways.
Yes. And what we have the potential to do with having the CD tooling and having Artilius in there is we could potentially start reporting on a regular basis and exposing our project's security profiles and any new vulnerabilities coming through the pipeline. So we are actually being proactive. So I'm hoping that we can take the tooling that we have, right, and make sure that at least we are we're implementing good security practices and being transparent. We've got SBOMs. We're consuming the SBOMs. We're scanning vulnerabilities on a regular basis. We're reporting them on a regular basis, so that people can go to a single location and get that information. I know Alpha Omega had initially they talked about doing something like that, but they don't have the tooling to do it, and we do.
Okay.
They have a lot of scripts.
Right. And it's good that we've got a better story to tell there. Now, you haven't talked to Alpha Omega further, or?
Mark, I'm telling you right now, when I walked in to try to talk to Alpha Omega at Open Source Summit, I tried to talk to him about CD events and the importance of CD events and the importance of Artilius and gathering data and consuming SBOMs and doing real-time vulnerability scanning and continuously reporting on the security profiles of the projects that we're delivering.
Mm-hmm.
They were not interested in hearing from me. I shouldn't have even been in the room. I was so spun around that I literally wanted to go home.
Okay. So
it was a horrible experience.
Got it. All right.
And
Well,
I
and-
don't plan on ever going back.
Well, and I'm going to, this member summit will be my first test drive. So I've had a good successful experience with the, the very narrow focus thing that we did. These two contractors for 3 months doing this very specific project that had been a long time Jenkins project that now is getting real traction because of the contracting investment that Alpha Omega did, right? We've had this thing running for years, but not been able to make progress on it because it was only as time allowed, and they funded us. So
And they
I'll
should. Alpha Omega was given money to make sure that the top 100 open source projects were secure.
right.
And if Jenkins doesn't fit into that there's something wrong.
Well, and that's part of the argument, but they're also very wisely careful about how they use that money. They want to be sure it gets them results, and I like that. I like their attitude about that. It turned out really well because I went to them initially with a really large proposal, and they said, "No, Mark, that's just too big, and we don't have experience working with you yet. Let's do something smaller." And the small thing has turned out very, very well, so we hope to broaden it now.
Yeah, I wasn't going in there to look for cash.
Yeah,
I was just
and
going in there to talk to them about what the CD Foundation is doing around security.
right, and
And how we
I
could potentially help them work together, right? That's why I was so shocked. They were just,
yeah, my suspicion is I don't know what the circumstances were there. I have no guess on why that went so badly because
it went so bad, Mark.
yeah, and I'm so sorry that
It
because for
went
me
so bad.
it's been very positive actually, my interactions, but I've had interactions with relatively few people. So we'll see what it means when I go to a bit broader group. You know, is it, oh, your Mark Jenkins is so old school, it can't possibly, guess what? We are a major force.
You're a
So
major force. And I feel like Jenkins, unfortunately, for whatever reason, has sidelined, and it makes me sad.
it just, there are lots of competitors now. That's kind of cool. There are lots of people who do really cool jobs and cool ways of running. Continuous integration and continuous delivery is assumed now, and I like that. That's great. No
And
problem.
it's because of Jenkins that we have
Right.
this
It's
economy, right?
we have
why
that's an industry victory, right? That's not a
it
negative. That's an
is.
industry victory. Software
isn't-
is better today because people deliver it all the time. So that's no
Exactly.
fighting that. All right.
Exactly.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you. Bye.